I'm just enjoying some soju with some peach mint syrup I made myself. Soju is the top-selling alcohol in Korea. It's similar to sake. You may be upset as an American with your politics, but you could be Korean. Korea's political drama right now involves impeachment, psychics, and horse dancing. Here's some background on Korea's history so you can understand the hilarity of their drama right now. In 1962, South Korea's GDP per capita was just over $100 US. Syngman Rhee was their president, and South Korea was one of the poorest nations in the world. Syngman Rhee was an Ivy League educated Methodist and authoritarian dictator. In his time, Rhee was comparatively liberal. He wanted to support the US's plan for economic reform in Korea, in contrast to the political pressure to return to the traditional ways, something that was supported by a lot of Confucianists at the time, who believed that pluralism was a foreign value. He maintained power through fixed elections and by once publicly executing someone who opposed him.
I can't get another line through for 2 hours. There's only one operator on duty at Seoul because of the parade.
What parade?
Syngman Rhee was just elected dictator again.
In April 19, 1961, student protests led to Syngman Rhee stepping down. May 16, 1961, General Park Chung-hee overthrew the corrupt government. He would end up running the Supreme Council until 1963, when he would officially become president. His reign was controversial while he rapidly modernized South Korea, making it a world economic power, and under his leadership the GDP rose over 20 times. But he held on to his power also through rigged elections, suppression of political opponents. It makes Koreans' feelings on him complicated. Some view him as a heartless dictator, and others view him as the person that did what he had to get Korea into the First World. October 1972, he declared martial law, dissolved the National Assembly, and amended the Constitution, effectively securing his power and setting himself up as dictator. Many groups in Korea opposed this. Amongst them was the emerging Christian church. August 15, 1974, the president would survive an assassination attempt on his life, but his wife would not. Their daughter, Geun-hye, in her 20s, would become the first lady in her mother's place. Tae-min was a former Buddhist monk, Christian convert, and minister in the Presbyterian Church of Korea, despite being theologically uneducated. In his life, he would go by 7 different names and be married 6 times. Claimed to be a present incarnation of the Maitreya, or future Buddha, which would usher in an age of enlightenment, and called other pastors in his denomination a bunch of assholes for not having a shaman spirit. You know, classic Christian orthodoxy. In case you were interested, L. Ron Hubbard also once claimed to be the Maitreya. So as the story goes, Choi is living out on some mountain somewhere, meditating, praying, and he has a man who brings him food every day, which he believes to be a mountain spirit. And one day this man tells him about the assassination of the First Lady, and how the nation's mourning, and how that the ghost of the First Lady is outside his cave. So he goes outside the cave, and sure enough, there's the ghost of the First Lady. And she tells him to go and meet her daughter, and tell her the secret that they have. He also claims that, besides this shared secret, that he's been entrusted to protect the daughter because she's a holy being. So he starts writing the daughter, and they meet, and upon meeting, he tells her the secret, and she faints and falls into a trance, where she meets her mother, and her mother says that he is supposed to take care of her. And from this point, they become friends, and he's her spiritual mentor, and he claims that he can channel her mother whenever he wants. Kim Jae-gyu, Park's trusted friend, chief of security, and director of the Korean Central Intelligence Agency, was concerned about this relationship, but Park disagreed. Choi created the National Salvation Army of the Cross and made President Park honorary president of it to help ease tensions between him and the growing Christian community in Korea. Choi's political connections helped him move up in the church, as well as amass a large amount of money by selling his influence over the presidential family. One pastor who Choi used to be friends with once told him to stop being a sorcerer and start being a Christian. On October 26, 1979, it is said that Choi warned Geun-hye to get her father away from his crowd for his own safety. That night, Park would be assassinated by Kim Jae-gyu. While his motives are not entirely known, one of the main reasons Kim gave was Park's failure to protect his daughter from Choi's influence. How people view Kim is still controversial. Some see him as a jealous traitor, others see him as a patriot who wanted to restore democracy. Many years pass. Korea continued its economic growth and its restoration of democracy. Park's daughter, Geun-hye, entered politics. In 1994, Choi died at the age of 81. Documents found through WikiLeaks, the US ambassador to Korea had some comments about Park. Park has also been forced to explain her own past, including her relationship some 35 years ago with a pastor, Choi Tae-min, whom her opponents characterized as a Korean Rasputin, and how he controlled Park during her time in the Blue House when she was the First Lady after her mother's assassination. Rumors are rife that the late pastor had complete control over Park's body and soul during her formative years, and that his children accumulated enormous wealth as a result. But she overcame this, and in 2012 was elected President of South Korea. Forbes magazine listed her as the 11th most powerful woman in the world, and the 46th most powerful person, and everything was good. Until one day, an aspiring young dressage athlete, yes, horse dancing, has been noticed to be getting preferential treatment at her all-women's university. Some people noticed that Chung-hee was admitted to the university despite not actually meeting the requirements, and is getting preferential treatment in her dressage. Further investigation found that she was getting preferential treatment because of the influence of her mother, Choi Soon-sil, the daughter of Choi Tae-min. Choi Soon-sil had taken over for her father after his death. And then it all started coming out. Choi Soon-sil had amassed about $70 million US by selling her influence over President Park to companies like Samsung, K-Sport, and other Korean companies. Raids were done, documents were seized, and it was found that speeches and confidential documents were being sent to Choi for editing. While Park refused to admit any wrongdoing, Choi, on the other hand, returned to the country and said, quote, "Please forgive me, I'm sorry. I committed a sin that deserves death." Park's approval rating plummeted to 5%, as many questioned who was truly running their country. And early in December 2016, President Park was impeached. Hence, the impeachment soju. Before anyone says this is what happens when a female's in politics, psychics run your country, William Lyon Mackenzie King.
Through paid mediums, King claims that he communicated with his dead mother, President Roosevelt, and several of his departed dogs. Some historians claim that King sought political advice from his contacts in the afterlife, suggesting that the country was, in part, guided through some of history's greatest challenges by dead people, and worse yet, by dead dogs.
And biblically, King Saul goes to the Witch of Endor to channel Samuel. Moral of the story is, psychics keep running countries. And it's a little funny. And really kind of scary.